Department of Labor has released a stunning report showing the highest rate of inflation by far since 1981. According to the latest Consumer Price Index, inflation rose 1.2% in March. That's an 8.5% increase from the same time last year. The report reveals energy prices are a major contributor to the latest spike. Energy prices have climbed 32%, and gasoline prices have risen 48% in the past 12 months. March saw a record-high gas price average of $4.33 a gallon. The cost of fuel oil has soared more than 70% since March 2021. CBS News reporter Sarah Ewall-Wice is here with us now. And Sarah, it's not just the spike in gas, of course. Those have made the biggest headlines, but this report really tells us that prices are going up just about everywhere, right?
Yeah, so this consumer price index was not a surprise. Economists expected it to be in the 8.4 to 8.6 range, and it really hit all areas of Americans' lives. They're seeing prices go up, as you mentioned, for energy. But, you know, one thing that also has seen a huge increase is food prices. Food prices are up 8.8% year over year, and that's not just people who are going out to eat. The price of staying home, buying groceries, cooking at home, trying to save money that way, those costs are also going up, and that's at about the 40-year pace as well, fastest pace in 40 years for that. And it's not just certain items at the food store. It's really every food that you could possibly be looking at has seen some increase year to year and month to month in most cases. So that is one place where people are feeling this, apart from those trips to the gas station. Another place where people are feeling this is home furnishings. Home furnishings are up about 10% year over year. That is something that people have been seeing as we've seen continued supply chain challenges throughout the United States. And another thing I'll mention, because we are in the spring, people are starting to plan those vacations, those summer vacations we're all looking forward to as this pandemic eases. We're seeing airfares up over the past year. They're up more than 20%, but just last month in March alone, those were up more than 10%. So if you're starting to plan those summer vacations, you're going to be cringing. And we have seen some polling that has shown where people are seeing challenges with meeting these rising prices. One thing that they are holding back on is planning trips, and we saw that in our polling just over the last weekend.
And it's not just the furnishings that you just talked about before vacations, but housing too. I know everyone who I talk to who's hoping to buy a home says it's just impossible right now because there's low inventory, which means sky-high prices. Is there anything that the Biden administration is doing to address the current market?
Yeah, so the Biden administration has been a very vocal advocate for affordable housing. I'm glad you mentioned housing because this is one of the things that people are seeing a large increase in, both for home prices but also for rent. So if you're trying to move into a new place, you're seeing prices up about 5%. That sounds like it's less than some of the other costs you might have right now, but when you're thinking about how much of your budget goes towards rent or your home versus how much goes towards other aspects of life, it is a larger chunk of money overall, and that is up significantly year over year. It's also up month to month that we've seen that. So I mentioned that the Biden administration has been a vocal advocate for affordable housing. They have taken some steps at an agency level to help with affordable housing, with the supply, and also with some of the lending to help keep people in affordable housing. But you know, one of the things that has been a real challenge is a piece of the Biden administration's affordable housing platform was a large component of that Build Back Better Act. And as you know, the Build Back Better Act really stalled out in December, hasn't gone anywhere since. So that is something that I think advocates are still pushing for. That aspect specifically, the Biden administration has proposed some affordable housing elements to their budget for 2023 that they recently unveiled. But it'll take some steps in Congress to really move forward on the supply of affordable housing.
And how does the rise in the cost of living compare to the rise in the in the increases that are or are not being offered by employers when it comes to wages?
You know, that's right. We have heard people talking about wages have been up. It's a hot labor market across the board over the past year. And you know, wages are, in fact, up. They're up 5.6% from a year ago when you look at those numbers. But when you talk about it compared to inflation, wages are simply not keeping up with inflation over the past year. So while some people are seeing increased pay, take-home pay from their jobs, it doesn't feel like they've had a raise, really. What it feels like is they're still not able to make ends meet, because real wages, when adjusted for the rising cost of living, have not kept up. You know, Weijia, one thing I do want to say, though, despite the challenges that we're facing, I want to mention a little bit of good news. We have seen some things in this index that actually have showed prices easing. I know we talked about food costs going up and we talked about gas prices going up, but outside of that, this core index, the core numbers here, there have been some places where we have seen, while prices aren't going down specifically, they aren't going up as significantly. Things like used cars, things like new vehicles, where we talked about in the past having that chip shortage and that driving up prices, those have leveled off a little bit. Those are easing now. So I want to mention there is some good news, and perhaps moving forward, we have seen the peak last month in inflation.
And of course, the Biden administration is trying to bring more good news to people. But you've been reporting on what the administration can and can't do to bring these prices down. So what have you found out?
You know, this is one of those things where the administration is obviously trying to look like it's taking actions, and it has taken steps. And we've talked about, in terms of gas prices, the president took a trip to Iowa today where he's waiving some regulations for this summer to help ease fuel price or gas prices specifically. We've seen the release of oil from the strategic petroleum reserves. That could help ease prices somewhat when it comes to gasoline and other steps we've taken. He's also talked about help with the supply chain, kind of moving goods through ports more quickly, getting more truckers out there shipping goods. That'll help as we continue to come out of the pandemic in some cases. But the reality is the Federal Reserve really is the one to combat inflation in the near term. And, you know, in March, they did increase the Fed rate by 1/4 percentage point. They have been criticized by not being more aggressive sooner. I know this is something that the Biden administration kind of wants to stay away from. They don't want to be seen criticizing the Fed as an independent agency. But we already are seeing officials at the Fed, outside economists, who are saying that the Fed needs to be more aggressive. They could raise interest rates 0.5 percentage point at their May meeting and moving forward. Something to keep an eye on.
And I know you will be. Thank you so much, Sarah Ewall-Wice, for joining us.
Thank you.